Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. And today we're talking about the Russians because they're trying to destroy national infrastructure. And unfortunately, they're not destroying their own. Now, they have a long history of this, but this is actually really interesting. And Dan Gooden of ours had a really good write up on this. And here's the latest because researchers this past Friday from ESET said that Poland's electric grid was targeted by wiper malware that was likely unleashed by Russian state actors in an attempt to disrupt electricity delivery operations. If you didn't know, most of the countries that border or are near Russia have all pulled out of the Ottawa Accords, that is the anti landmine treaty, and they are currently mining their borders as of January 1 because we are fearing a Russian invasion. Basically, the world is of Eastern Europe. Obviously, they're in Ukraine right now. But we typically soften up targets with cyber attacks these days, whether it's infrastructure, grids, all that kind of stuff, to basically make the enemy deaf and blind, which is kinetic warfare 101. Now, this cyber attack, according to Reuters, occurred during the last week of November. Now, Reuters said it was aimed at disrupting communications between renewable installations and the power distribution operators, but failed for reasons that we just don't know yet. And hopefully we'll figure them out and continue to harden, right? So, ESET also said that the malware was a wiper. Now, that's a type of malware, if you didn't know, that permanently erases code and data stored on servers with the goal of destroying operations completely. Unlike ransomware, where they're locking data out and then holding you for basically hostage or holding you, excuse me, for ransom, wiper is just trying to destroy. They're not trying to copy anything, they're not trying to do anything, but just completely destroy data, information, infrastructure. So, after studying the TTPs, that's tactics, techniques, and procedures used in this attack, ESET researchers said that the wiper was likely the work of a Russian government hacker group that we all know as Sandworm. Quote, based on our analysis of the malware and associated TTPs, we attribute the attack to the Russian aligned Sandworm APT, that's Advanced Persistent Threat, with medium confidence due to a strong overlap with numerous previous Sandworm wiper activity we analyzed. We're not aware of any successful disruption occurring as a result of this attack, end quote. Now, Sandworm, for the record, the group, the Advanced Persistent Threat Group, has a long history of destructive attacks waged on behalf of the Kremlin against its adversaries. Now, the most notable one, and I've actually talked about this, I've written about this, it's fascinating, especially since this came way before the invasion of Ukraine, was Ukraine back in December of 2015. Now, if you recall, they hit a nuclear power plant, and then when the nuclear power plant essentially went down, they ran denial of service on the phone system, essentially making about 230,000 Ukrainians deaf and blind for about 6 hours. And interestingly enough, it was on one of the coldest months of the year as well. Not a good time for electricity, basically the grid to go down. We're all trying to heat our homes. So these attackers, excuse me, used a general purpose malware known as Black Energy to penetrate power companies' supervisory control and data acquisition systems, and from there activate legitimate functionality to stop electricity distribution. Now, the incident essentially was first known as a malware, or rather it is the first known malware facilitated blackout, and that's essentially what they did, is they just were able to shut it down. ESET also said, and this is interesting, that the attack targeting Poland occurred on the 10th anniversary of that event. I don't think that's a coincidence, right? I mean, it just doesn't seem like it is. ESET also provided a few other details about the attack, but they didn't provide many. They did say that the malware basically used has been dubbed Dino Wiper. And finally, the best known case of Russia's use of wipers, because they've been using them for a while, was actually in 2017 with the release of something called NotPetya. Now, if you're in cybersecurity, and you were back then, as I was, you remember this one. This was a big one because this was super destructive, and this worm was intended to target only Ukraine at the time. You can see Russia's got a thing for Ukraine, but this one, NotPetya, quickly spread around the world and wreaked havoc as it disrupted computer operations all over the planet. This event actually was estimated to have cost governments and businesses a combined $10 billion, making it possibly the most expensive computer intrusion in history. And so the Russians are at it basically again. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is basically why I mentioned it in the beginning is that they are looking at softening up targets along Eastern Europe. They're disruptive. They run disinformation campaigns, but their malware campaigns are notoriously good. They're good at this, quite frankly. So we're going to see where this goes. You know, I'm going to keep you up to date here, but quite frankly, this is the world that we are living in. And with all the chaos and everything that's going around the world, the last thing we need is electrical grids going down because the Russians decide to roll tanks. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody except possibly the Russians really want that. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please, 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 I don't want to say private, informed, and secure. Take care.